Hi, I'm Sarah-Clare Conlon. I'm here today to talk about flash fiction. It's National Flash Fiction Day, the first ever, and I'm currently running an event in Manchester to celebrate that fact.
Can you tell me a little bit about how flash fiction started and what sort of people come down to hear you read?
Well, flash fiction's actually been going for ages. It's just it has various different names and things. It's taken off recently because it's a really good thing to perform, and it's also interesting because obviously people don't have a lot of time these days, and it's nice because flash fiction is very short pieces of prose that you can dip in and out of. So, like if you're on the bus or waiting in the doctors or something like that. So, some people say it's up to 1,000 words long, short stories. Generally, I think 500 max, but people have their own kind of opinion on that. And some people think it's to something that you can write really quickly and just put it out there. Obviously, with the internet and things like that, it's really easy to publish stuff. Generally, I'm of the other school of thought, which is just because it's short doesn't mean that you shouldn't take a long time over it. A bit like poetry, I mean, you'd spend ages honing that. So that's kind of what flash fiction is, but it has been around for ages. I mean, Ernest Hemingway famously wrote it, Kafka famously wrote it, that it's been going for years. It's just that recently I think it's had an upsurge in popularity.
I know all of you here today are authors and you're reading your own fiction. Is that the case for all flash fiction readers, that it tends to be the work that they've written?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people around the country at the moment working in flash fiction and performing it at spoken word nights. Certainly in Manchester there's a massive literary scene. People are very interested in going to spoken word nights and things like that at the moment, and flash fiction lends itself really well to it because open mic slots are often 3 or 4 minutes long, so you can't read a proper traditional short story. It's because it takes 5 or 10 minutes. But yeah, we all write our own stuff and perform our own stuff. So yeah.
Does spoken word add a new audience to the sort of literature world? Does it bring in a whole new audience, or is it just a new dimension for people who are already reading literature?
I think it's a bit of both, really. I think I go to a lot of spoken word nights because I want to hear what other writers are doing and working on at the moment, and it opens you up to other forms and other genres and things like that. But I think also a lot of these nights take place in pubs and social spaces, and people are already there having a drink and often get drawn into the event and then kind of come away thinking, oh, I've actually taken something away, rather than just, drinking beer all night. They actually get some cultural kind of input as well, so it's nice like that.
And what sort of audiences have been coming to watch you read today?
Well, it's been very varied, and the idea today was to promote flash fiction to a wider audience who might not normally kind of listen to spoken word things. So we have been going around lots of kind of iconic cultural places in Manchester, like Cornhouse, for example, and Royal Exchange Theatre, so it's a cultural crowd there. But we've also been performing in like public spaces such as Exchange Square and St Anne's Square. A lot of people have been stopping by, a bit like busking, and hopefully we've had quite a few tweets from people we know nothing about, so hopefully it is taking it out to a wider audience who are enjoying it, seemingly so.
Writing group called Flash Tag. We're going around Manchester today in celebration of what was this celebration? National Flash Fiction Day. Thank you. And we're going to be reading at venues like Manchester Art Gallery, Manchester Museum, and in fact Woodstones right here in the Arndale Centre. I'd like to introduce you to Fat Roland, who'll be reading a very short story for you. If you could come closer, we're not that scary, and listen to him, that would be excellent. Fat Roland, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Because we're in a literary environment, I thought I'll give you a piece of Russian situationist horror. Alexander said, "Guard the church." I guard the church. Next to the church stands a thicket of wintry trees, petrified, trunks silvered with what looks like ash from the war. The church is half built. Until Alexander told me to guard the church, Kids with spindly legs climbed the stonework in dirty school shoes, bed sheets bundled under their arms. Bunching the sheets like parachutes, they jumped from the walls. They mouthed machine gun noises as they fell, mimed blood bursting from chests, and they laughed and they laughed. They had no respect because they had no fathers. Now I guard the church because Alexander told me to guard the church. The sun burns a hole in the blue above, then blazes the horizon. The trees in permanent winter ignore the seasons, although in moonlight the grey trunks writhe. I bite a piece of my lip and let the flesh play around my tongue. I have a visitor, the first since the children left. A vagabond pulls a trap laden with empty bird cages up the road towards me. He wears 2 thick coats and hums an operatic tune. Alexander did not tell me to expect him. When he sees my rifle, he smiles crookedly and shouts, "Der Vogelfanger bin ich ja," slurring his clumsy German with a Leningrad accent. I am the bird catcher. The stranger and I exchange unbroken stares. His features are unclear from this distance, but he does not move, and I cannot leave the church. Minutes, months, decades pass. Caterpillars crawl the trunks in the thicket, laying a shroud of silver over the bark. They carry the winter with them. The vagabond stands, dead-eyed and ashen, and his skin creeps with shapes under the moon. I wait for him to move, for the children to return, for someone to carry on building the church. I wait for sundown, for a new war, for this season to be over, for something to live again. I wait for Alexander. Thank you very much. Catch you on Twitter. #NTR. Thank you.